Hello everyone, David here with Monofit Training Systems, and today I would like to enlighten or educate in the ways of fitness by using an analogy of cake. So anyone who's ever made cookies, cake, or any other kind of recipe that involves a bunch of different ingredients know that you need to do everything at the right time in order for it to come out right. So I looked up a cake recipe, and the ingredients are sugar, butter, eggs, vanilla, flour, baking powder, and milk. Okay, so in this analogy or example, the cake is our overall all-inclusive life. And then the ingredients of our lives are our jobs, most likely. Most people are working, so we have our jobs. We have our relationships with people. We might have our hobbies. We might have entertainment in there. But there's all these elements of our life that are part of what makes us who we are. And the thing that's also part of us is, of course, our physical body. So you have the job and you go buy the food and you go to the house and you put gas in the car and you have all these things that you do. They're all parts. They're all parts of this big recipe of our lives. And what you usually do with your body, if you're one of those people that is not training, not working out, doesn't have a very physical hobby, whether it's some kind of, recreational sport like softball or bowling, or a combat sport, or Zumba class, or any kind of working out, things that make you sweat, make you sore, make you feel better, make you stronger. If you're not doing one of those things, then think about what you are doing. With your body, you are only feeding it and cleaning it. I think I got that right. If you're not exercising and trying to make your body better, all you're doing is feeding it and cleaning it. So like with a car, if you put gas in it and wash it, you're gonna always have a good looking car. But if you don't change the oil, if you don't get a tune-up, if you don't change its tires, eventually your machine will break down and become useless. And it'll just be a shiny thing in the driveway that actually can't be used. It could just hold things inside of it because it can no longer move. Now, back to the cake analogy. So let's just say you're making a cake and you make all the time to get the necessary ingredients, much like our lives. You get the necessary ingredients in there and you put them all into the bowl, and you get your sugar, your butter, your vanilla, your flour, your baking powder, and your milk. And you mix it all together because that's what you have time for, because you didn't make the time to get the eggs. So you mix this all together, you cook it, and it's gonna come out a certain way, right? Minus the eggs. So while the cake is cooking, you go buy eggs. And now you cook the eggs while the cake is cooking. And when the cake comes out, you frost it after it cools. You grab your egg and you set the egg on top. What are you gonna have? You're gonna have a pretty bad cake. Your cake was not constructed properly. It wasn't built properly. It's built out of order instead of all together. It's not combined the right way. And you're gonna have a pretty nasty cake. Now, I'm not talking about aesthetics. I'm talking about it's gonna just not be what it was designed to be because it wasn't done in the right order. And I think that's how people approach fitness. They don't have time for fitness because they view it as an unnecessary or a secondary thing to the rest of their lives, the rest of their world. So I'll start working out when the kids go back to school. Oh yeah, now that the kids are back in school, I have all these things I gotta do. I spend more time cleaning the house. I gotta run errands while they're in school. I just really don't have time. So, you know what? This time what I'll do is when the kids are out of school, then I'll go back, because then they'll be at home. They're getting a little bit older now. They could be left by themselves. Oh, no, that didn't work, because now that they're home by themselves, I have them do a lot of play dates and I'm driving them back and forth. Oh, well, I started a new job and I'm not going to be able to devote that much time to my fitness because this job really does take a lot of my time. It's probably going to happen after I've been there a while and my workload is less. Well, now that my workload is less, I use that time to spend with my kids. Oh, now that before you know it, 20 years has gone by. I've been in this spot for 9. I've been a trainer for 15 years, and I've talked to many people that simply never got started with their wellness or fitness journey because they're waiting for every single thing to fall in place. Their cake, their cake is terrible. Their cake is not only missing an ingredient, but if they ever go back and try to get that ingredient back, it could be too late. And it's most likely always going to be too late, because a lot of times people do not find the time to get fitness into their lives until they are sick. And sometimes when they're like the worst kind of sick, when it's almost do or die, they're full-blown diabetic, they have hypertension, they're morbidly obese, or they have really bad inflammation in their joints, or simply their joints are wearing out because of the load. But the thing about a well-made cake, just like a well-balanced life, is it's delicious. And it's something that everybody wants to be part of. And what I mean by that is a person who's exercising, who eats well, who has a good balanced social life, they have good relationships, all these different things. What happens in their life is they have a life that is abundant in a lot of other things. In other words, a well-balanced life breeds other things that contribute to this balance. And I think it's super important that it is part of the ingredients of our lives to make it simply one of the other elements that makes our lives great. We all have a half hour. There's not a person in this world that does not have a half hour. Some of the most successful people, and I'm talking about monetary success. I'm not talking about ethereal, like, oh, well, I'm happy and everything's fine and I have, whatever, everybody loves me. I'm talking about that kind of shit. I'm talking about like cash money. The people who are some of the most wealthiest people, some of the most successful people, no matter what they do for a living, they either get up really early or they go to the gym or they work out after work is over, or they have the kind of schedule that allows them to block off a couple hours of their time because they work so much. They start early, take a 1 or 2 hour break, and they work out, and then they go back to work, and then they go back home. And I've seen it over and over again that there are people out there that will take a shower at the gym, then go to their job, or after their job is over, they go straight to whether it's the class or the workout, or they work out in the garage, for those of you disciplined enough to do that, and they make it happen. So fitness and cake, probably the best combination of the two that you could ever come up with. Please listen to this, please think about it, and apply it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.